What's up, Nitwits? It's Damo99, and with me as always, Game Over Joey.
Hey, Nitwits.
And we are here to talk about PlayStation's State of Play, June 2nd, 2022, which I'm just going to open up with, Joe. Not the most excited for it. I think it had a couple cool things, but I mean, just our little quick jump in, I wasn't very impressed. I don't know how you felt about it, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I was not impressed either. I wanted this show to be obviously really good, right? I think everyone does, right?
Yeah.
You know, as a gamer, we want to see the best of the best. We want to see these exclusives. We want to see things that haven't been announced, you know, new titles in development, etc. And, you know, we didn't really get much of that today with PlayStation. I do know the State of Play events aren't supposed to be like E3 events, right? They're not the full hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really show as much. As PlayStation has stated, a lot of these are usually catered to one specific genre, for example. Like the last one they had was around indie games.
Yeah.
This one, just because it's E3 month, and I know there's no E3, but I think a lot of people had high expectations for that reason. And, you know, we all went in with thinking, at least I know a lot of people I know did, went in with the expectations that this was going to be huge, right? And it wasn't. I mean, there were a couple great announcements. You know, I'm not going to downplay what was great about it. But yeah, I agree with you. I am very, very disappointed in the overall event itself. Yeah, I look forward to Xboxes.
I know. I mean, I think that's 100% fair to say. And I think I kept thinking they were going to throw like a big like surprise haymaker.
Yeah.
Especially with, you know, no E3, no this, no that. And especially that they did their show before Xbox. So I thought it was a good way for them to get like a little excitement built.
Yeah.
Not taken away from some of the titles, definitely. I think a lot of things, you know, are cool, typical PlayStation State of Play things. So I think I was just expecting a little more.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, I can't wait for one of the things, and I know you can't either. We can deep dive into it, but other than that, I mean, man, they had a lot of misses too. Or things I just was like, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, like moving on, next thing. Come on, just wrap it up.
Yeah.
You know, I really want another Hogwarts Legacy update, but that's just because we're, you know, the Hogwarts fans. That game's going to be amazing. So
yeah, you know, and that right. Yeah, that's not an exclusive though. So you know, it's one of those things where they had the opportunity to show it first, but it's not just the PlayStation. So, but yeah, I'm with you there. You know, us being huge fans of that world. I don't want to say Harry Potter because I don't really, you know, that Hogwarts Legacy doesn't necessarily. It's not Harry.
It's
Potter.
more than just Harry Potter.
It's in that realm, right? It's in that. It's in that world, and you know, as you know, us being massive fans of that genre, that world. You know, we're both geeked for it. And yeah, I was expecting that too, right? You know, it seems like they have some type of partnership going on to be able to show the game first.
Yeah.
Which is really, you know, cool on their behalf. But again, it's out on, you know, Xbox and PC as well. So, you know, I don't know if they could toot their horn too much there. But here's the thing. Literally the best thing about this entire show was Stray. Okay, let's just get it out, right?
That's what I text. Hey, and it's not like the gameplay or anything. It's the fact that it's going to be free on their new PlayStation Plus Extreme Premium, whatever it's called, all put together.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I think Stray will be a fun game. I'm happy you started with that. I think Stray, honestly, maybe out of this list, the game I'm looking forward to most that I've never played before.
I was joking.
Because, you know, Resident Evil 4 is definitely, I think, in my take, the best game from this whole entire thing. But hey, having Stream be free for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members, I'm juiced because I would not pay for that game, but I'm definitely going to play it now because it will be free.
I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, I played Goat Simulator, and I never would have bought it, but I played it because it was free. And,
so I think that's fun, though, because they can do this now to promote one of these random games that I would never spend money on.
100%. 100%. I think that's really, really, overall a good way of thinking about it. If you're already paying for that feature on PlayStation, this game is free. But that's like Game Pass, right? And again, shameless plug, but there's so many games on Game Pass that I would never buy that I just simply download and try.
Grounded.
Exactly. We
put over 100 hours into it.
Exactly. That's a good point. Like, it was a game that I probably would have bought if I knew the full details, but we didn't, and we said, you know what, we'll download it, give it a try, and we ended up spending a massive amount of time on it.
Yeah.
But again, Stray could really surprise us. I mean, it looks like you're just a cat, and you're a stray cat running around. I mean, the title says it all, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I would ever pay for this. I don't care if it was $5. I wouldn't have bought it. No. I would have put that money into Fortnite or Siege.
But if Stray ends up being even like a decent game, because I got it for free, if they want to charge like $10 from like some skin pack for the cat or something, I probably will do it if I like the game. Sounds dumb, but I've done it before for different games. So
yeah.
But I'm happy at least that we're now getting a little more of like what kind of games will be going straight to PlayStation Plus Extra. Or PlayStation Plus, I guess is what it's really called. Just because it's really like a secret. They're basically like, no exclusives, no big names will go to this, but we're seeing the kind of game that will go to it. So we're piecing it together with them. I feel like they don't really know what will go on it. So
yeah,
it will constantly keep changing and evolving.
Yeah, it definitely will. Again, they're never going to get up to that Game Pass standard that Xbox has until they bring their first titles there. But even then, they lack studios, and that's always going to hurt them long term. But as long as they continue making quality games like God of War, Horizon, ultimately, they're still going to have a huge fan base, and they always will because, people love PlayStation.
Rightfully so.
But I also wanted to, add in there, just because you brought up Resident Evil 4 Remake, I am super juiced for that as well. We talked about this on a prior podcast, or Nitwits Talks. And we spoke about how Resident Evil 2 and 4, in my opinion, were the best. I know you said 4 specifically.
4 is my favorite of all the Resident Evils.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, 2 and 4 to me would be mine. But then I know I brought up like Resident Evil Village in 7, where I just think those games were masterpieces, and they were amazing games. And, Village has had nothing but praise. It is a phenomenal game. But what I'm trying to get at is I am super excited for this, but it's not a new IP. It's not a new title, right? It's literally a remake. The game's going to look beautiful, fun to play through it again. But again, this is not going to be a seller for PS5. And that's just my opinion. Like, no one's going to say, okay, Resident Evil 4 that I played back 10, 15 years ago, I'm going to go buy a PS5 because of this game. It's not going to push consoles. So, again...
It's good. It's a good piece of the pie. It's a little cherry on top. Like, it's just a nice little sweetener. It's a game I'll play, but I'm not going to go and buy a,
But then, again, the argument, though, is Resident Evil 4 a one and done, right? How many people go back and play through Resident Evil games multiple times throughout a year, or just even in a time frame, right?
I've played through Resident Evil 4 twice.
But that's my point, though. Like, most people don't go back and play these games. Mm-hmm. They might revisit it because it's a remake, right? Yeah. But again, depending on how much they're charging, let's just say $50, right? And because that's about what they charge for remakes. Actually, Resident Evil 3 and 2 were $60. So if they're charging, let's say $70 now because it's a new price for PlayStation, that's just ridiculous. I mean, is $70 worth Resident Evil 4? I mean, I'll buy it because that's just how I am. But realistically, it's probably not worth it because I've beaten Resident Evil 4 a handful of times. I know I've played it easily 3 or 4 times. But I'm also a huge Resident Evil fan. My point was, though, a lot of people won't go back and play a game 2 or 3 times. A lot of these games are one and done for a lot of people. So, again, it's not going to be a console pusher.
It'd be a great game to put on PlayStation Plus.
It would be. And if they said that would be a game. That would be a huge, huge, huge plus. But again, I don't think PlayStation's in that business. They're not going to pay Capcom, $10 million just to have a day one on there. Like, they're not going to do it because, number one, they're thinking about, okay, could that increase the subscriber count? Maybe. But again, they don't have that. They need more than just Resident Evil 4 to push that subscription base.
Xbox can be in the money to lose money because it doesn't hurt them long term. PlayStation has to be perfect right now.
Correct. So again, that's exactly it. Xbox knows that with Game Pass, for the first couple years, it's going to be negative balance sheet, right? Mm-hmm. But over time, it's going to be nothing but billions of dollars of profit for them. And that's the thing. Like, they're looking at the picture long term. But again, they have the capital. They have the backup of Microsoft's wallet to say, hey, we can do this. Whereas for PlayStation doesn't. So I understand PlayStation's worry behind it. But it's ultimately, they still could do it. Their investors would buy into it. And I think that overall, it would be a really good move. But again, Jim Ryan has stated very specifically he's against day ones of any of their exclusive games, so to their games of service or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so I mean, I kind of want to segue into, I think, probably one of the most exciting things about this event is Final Fantasy 16. Not only did we get some epic gameplay, which it looked stunning. I think everyone was really geeked. So number one, I want to point out, I just in case people don't know, but Devil May Cry, their actual their not designer, but the individual who's responsible for the fighting mechanics. So one of their engineers left Devil May Cry Studios, whoever the studio is, and went over to Square Enix, and he's developing the combat for Final Fantasy 16, which is why it's so fast-paced. And first and foremost, I love the Devil May Cry series. I think they're great games. And the new combat style, I'm super excited for. Yeah, you can say, I guess, 15 was like it. This looks a lot more fast-paced. And I'm super excited for that. But the thing I'm most excited for is we got a window when it's coming out. Summer of 2023.
Summertime.
And, I gotta look. Once they announce it, I gotta make sure I get that vacation scheduled. So.
More importantly about the release of summer 2023, summer games, typically big hitters like this, I feel don't come out towards summer. So I feel it's going to be a pretty open range for them. Now, obviously, we don't know what Xbox is going to do or anything, but I feel a lot of the big games they try to release closer to that Christmas time hit that Christmas money. So I like that it's going to be in the summer. I think it's a smart move. I think it's a safe move, more importantly for them, because it's good. This game will push consoles to some degree.
Oh, no. It definitely will. I agree with you there. I mean, Final Fantasy has literally a massive fan base, and I could see this pushing, PS5s all day. Mm-hmm. And I do think this is going to be a game changer. Just in the Final Fantasy genre in general. It's more dark. It's more gloom. The combat switched up. And again, what we saw today just was fit. I was geeked when I saw the gameplay the first time. This time, watching this epic boss fight, whatever it was, looks so amazing. But I agree. This will definitely push consoles.
I mean, I just enjoy Final Fantasy as it looks pretty. It looked nice. I feel it's a well done game. I feel they definitely say this to be their haymaker, although I kind of wanted something different. This was a nice one. Like, this is a good, solid thing that they put out. This is probably their best overall thing they did in the state of play.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It is literally the best part. Now, I can tell you very, very... I didn't really care for anything else, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
you know, Street Fighter 6. I love Street Fighter games, but I was always
Yeah.
more. I was always more of a Mortal Kombat guy, right?
Mhm.
But Street Fighter 6, though, it looked really cool. But again, to me, it's not going to be something I'm going to go buy out day one. I will buy it, but I'll buy it when it's 25, $30.
I will say one thing that bothers me about Street Fighter. It bothers me that they're putting it on PlayStation 4, which I understand. They said they're not going to cut games till 2025. But I hate when games do the two-way because I feel like then one's not focused on. And more importantly, it's still coming out for Xbox and PC. So I get it. You know, it's in the state of play. It's material to put in there. Capcom and PlayStation having a great relationship. Completely understand all that. But I just, like, I know a lot of people are hyped up for this, but to me, it's like, man, like, it's going to be everywhere. You know, it's going to be PlayStation, it's going to be Xbox, it's going to be PC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, fine. You know, it was kind of one of those things, like, I just grazed over. Look cool, but...
Exactly. And that's like Resident Evil as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, again, it's going to be on all platforms. The only thing they have here is Final Fantasy 16 that is really, truly an exclusive. That was the best part of the show, right? I forgot one other thing that was really cool. It's because we're PC guys, right?
Yep.
And I think that the fact that they're bringing Spider-Man, Miles Morales to PC. We already knew that they're releasing all their exclusive games to PC, and their goal is to have over 60. Well, I guess over 50%. They stated all on PC by 2025. And I'm super excited for that just because, again, I had the pleasure of getting a PS5. I have the pleasure of being able to play the PS5, right? But I prefer to play on my computer. So,
hey, what was the first thing I texted you whenever this popped up?
Oh, mods. I mean, but again,
I can't wait.
Well, that's exactly it, though. That's what I was going to segue into is that, you know, again, I'm such an advocate for PC and have been since, I was a kid, because PC you can do so much more on than you can do from what console gamers have, right? I mean, just any game out there can be modded, right? I mean, think about GTA, right? And I'm bringing that specifically up because a lot of people know GTA and Skyrim. Those games you can mod literally to your heart's content. You can change every little thing in Skyrim, graphic overhauls, enemies. You could literally do spells. You can become God if you want to, right? And same thing with GTA. GTA is the same way. They have GTA RP, and PC gives you the opportunity to customize anything you want to in a game. So, that being said, when Spider-Man comes out, I can only imagine the amount of modding content that will release for Spider-Man from people in the PC community. And that is super exciting.
I mean, I think it'll be fun because I think mods are going to be insane. I'm really curious to see like what people can add, what people can do. So I think the best thing for Spider-Man is I think Spider-Man overall is the best gameplay of any superhero game. The movements, the everything. I think it's already a really established game. So I think adding the mods will only make it better. I think this will end up being probably the best thing overall from this list here. That's your controversial statement. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am excited for it. Again, I've already beaten the game. I'm going to rebuy it on PC to play through it on PC, but specifically so I can mod the game. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I mean,
that's 100% what we're in for.
Exactly. I mean, Days Gone too, man. Days Gone came to PC. It has a ton of mods for it. People are editing it, changing it up, and making it a better game overall. So, super exciting. Now, let's talk about what we are most dissatisfied with. I mean, we already not super happy with the show itself. Right?
I want to add one thing real quick, and I think it's a weird. Because I don't know if you are, and I've never really heard you talk much about it. I feel they had a weird focus on VR.
That's what I was about to talk about.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking, because I just didn't. Before we got away from it, I felt their focus on VR was really odd. Because it wasn't like, like Switch. Go ahead.
I don't think it was odd because they're releasing the VR 2.
Yeah, no, I understand, but like, like Switch like focused on like Wii Sports. Like they had like a very common core thing. Man, PlayStation just dropped their like Resident Evil's gonna have it. We're gonna give it to what are the other games they announced with it?
So the second
No Man's Sky, which shout out to No Man's Sky for doing this because we love No Man's Sky on this channel. We give it all the credit in the world for them screwing up like every other game lately has that gets launched and sucks, but they fall through that. So shout out to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, Hello Games, since we're on the subject.
Yeah.
They were in I remember Sean Murray, the founder of Hello Games, when the game launched, the game was so bad he went into hiding. And I bought the collector's edition, okay? So think about how I felt. And then they come out with these updates and they completely revised the game and fixed it.
Yep.
So I have nothing but respect for them. For a while there, I was like, I was upset just like any other consumer that bought the game. But then Sean Murray committed to making sure this was a phenomenal game, which it is a phenomenal game now. It is a space simulation sandbox that literally you can get lost into just by looking about how gorgeous it is.
They really fought through it. They pushed through all the problems it had, and it's a beautiful game now. Like, it's just unreal. And all the credit to No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
It won Comeback Player of the Year.
It really did. It really did. I mean, it's super exciting to say that. I mean, just to see what a developer... They had this ambition. They overshot this ambition.
Big time.
And then they finally developed it to the point where the game is just amazing. Now, am I a huge No Man's Sky fan? Like, as I play it all the time? Absolutely not. But I see the appeal that people have. I do own the game. Not only for PlayStation, but for PC. And, I launched it here and there just to fly the ship around. I play creative a lot of the time. And all I do is look at how beautiful the planets are. I look at the creatures that spawn in because, it has that random generation.
Yeah.
I think it has some amazing elements, and a lot of games could learn from them. And it's crazy to say that, especially with that rocky launch. So, but yeah, no, that hands down. But the VR, and then the VR was just, a lot of the show. And to be frank with you, Horizon's new game coming out for VR, not interested in it. They had their The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2.
Yeah.
I looked at it and I was like, nah, I'm good. Then they had the...
Give me Lee and Clementine back.
Exactly. Those were amazing, though.
Yeah, they were. Telltale, that's the best thing they've ever done.
Yeah, Telltale is phenomenal, though. Like, they know how to tell a story, and they know how to get you emotionally attached to what you're playing. So
that's probably one of the saddest moments in gaming, next to Dom's death in Gears 3. Sorry.
No, I was sighing because I think it's sad, but I'm not going to go to that extent.
It was for me. I was Dom. That's another discussion. But see, that's what I'm saying about this VR. They gave us Resident Evil Village, okay? They gave us Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Yeah.
They gave us Horizon Forbidden West. They gave us No Man's Sky.
Well, Forbidden West wasn't going to be a VR game. They just gave us the New Game Plus update, which, while you said that name, I want to talk about that just real quick. As a massive Horizon fan, I am extremely disappointed that it took them this long to come out with a New Game Plus. And okay, it's free, and they emphasize this is a free update. It better be fucking free.
Yeah.
If you're going to charge me for New Game Plus, like, don't sit here and, like, gaslight me to think this is an amazing thing that you're doing, right? Because it's not. You're literally giving something that we should have had from day one. Yeah. So, I was not happy with the way PlayStation emphasized free update. Free. Like, it should be free. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Shame on you. Performance mode should have been out. Skill reset should have been out. New Game Plus should have been out. Literally, the harder difficulty should have been out. No, like, this all should have been out. But go ahead.
No, I mean, and then The Walking Dead. And I feel that, like, it's such a different variety of games for VR.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest VR fan in general, but I felt it was real odd of them. Because I know they're going to be like, oh, look at everything we can do with our VR already. But you already know there's going to be problems. Just to start. You know, you're going to have to work through it. And I wish they would have just, if this was the state of play, I wish they would have just been like, hey, this is strictly our focus. And then they would have left, like, other games be a focus on another one. And I feel the mix of this was just a problem. And maybe that's just my mind being weird, you know, because you have that. And then TUNIC, which is a game that's already been out on PC and Xbox. Oh, yeah, that's coming. Like, that's a big deal. Like, outside of your big gun of Final Fantasy 16, which basically this is all it was for. It was like, here's Final Fantasy 16 and the rest of what sort of is going on at our studio only.
Yeah.
And VR. It like, I had a hard time accepting that. Except Stray's going to be free, and that's amazing.
Hey, what you take away from our podcast today is Stray going to be the best game out of everything listed today. Like, it's
these idiots really like the Stray game. We should try it.
I mean, it looked pretty. It's in a cyberpunk type world. It looks pretty. It looks like it's going to be a fun game, just like No Man's Sky, to get lost and roam around.
That's it, you know. But I guess the VR to me was just so spread out, so weird, so diverse, so everything, which is like a good and bad thing to have. But like, there's nothing that like made me want to get it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's overall that's how I feel about the state of play. There's nothing that played that I had to be like, oh yeah, I gotta get this. I gotta make sure like
Final
I'm
Fantasy
on top
16
of this right here.
Final Fantasy 16.
Fair, but you know, like is that one like they could have just shown a half hour of the gameplay of that then like. I guess that's what I'm getting at is overall it's a big disappointment because a lot of swings and misses, a lot of like, oh yeah, that's cool, you know, yeah, cool, yeah, we'll add that to the lineup for something to do later, but nothing where it's like, my God, batten down the hatches.
You know, there's one thing we forgot, and the Callisto effect, or protocol. I'm sorry. You know, that game, it did intrigue me a little bit, and I'll tell you why. It is made by one of the co-creators of Dead Space, and I think Dead Space is a phenomenal game.
Facts.
So that being
underrated game,
100%. And the fact that this individual is a co-creator of the original Dead Space, and he created his own studio, and is currently working on this game, and it comes out December 2nd, I do have some hope and faith that this is going to be a good game. We didn't see enough today, in my opinion, to really sit here and be super amped for it. So I still stand with you, Dom, in the sense of there was nothing that really stood out to me that was crazy, except Final Fantasy 16.
You're gonna have to separate that. Look, we need to confirm that it's a separate thing.
Right. So, but that's it. Everything else was very lackluster, and you know, I am very, very disappointed in Sony's state of play. I think that they should have done more planning, should have showed more. And again, I'm going to say it for a second time. I'm more and super geeked for Xbox's, their E3, quotations around E3, event next week on, next Sunday. It's going to be substantially longer. It's longer than a movie. They're shooting for 2.5, 3 hours. And I know we can always argue there's 34 studios, right? They have Bethesda, right? Bethesda usually a whole hour and a half event by themselves, right?
And you know what? They bought it.
Yeah, so
they paid for this. We will sit there for it.
Yeah, and I will tell you, they're gonna have a lot. I guarantee it, because they're not booking that much time. But what I'm hoping for is for Xbox, and we got to do a prediction video on it anyway. But what I'm hoping for is that they're focusing on what all 34 studios are working on and giving us some more, obviously, gameplay, but ultimately not just gameplay, but what we can expect from these new acquired studios and so forth. And I think we're going to get a lot of that, but ultimately, I want to know when Fable's coming out. I keep thinking about it. We seen it 2 years ago. 2 freaking years ago. Going on 3 years very soon. And we
with
still...
with our COVID game deadline delay thing, this is about the perfect time now, where like the studios start releasing like all the information. We get like, if you know what I mean by that, like this is normally the time where we're actually getting everything. God of War is another one. So yeah, I'm surprised they didn't even have like a little teaser.
Right, and that's
so.
a good point, right? God of War Ragnarok is slated to be
coming.
Yeah, they said that there's no currently anything that's affecting it from coming out this year. And what's crazy is I understand State of Play event isn't a full like E3 showing, right? Getting quotations. But I felt like they had so much more to offer and they didn't offer it. But how much you want to bet on their next State of Play event they announced Last of Us 2 remastered?
I mean, that would make sense. it would make sense though.
No, it really does. But you know, people, what I want to say,
would go crazy.
Yeah, for some reason,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
but overall, let's wrap up. What your full opinion, your like 1 sentence answer, your 1 word answer. What do you say about it? And then rate it. What would you give the event?
So my 1 word or sentence is simply that if I had to describe the show in 1 word, I don't even think I could do. I want to say shit.
Do a phrase then,
or huge,
like, whatever.
huge disappointment. Right? It let me down.
Yeah.
And I
it was like the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, exactly.
Let you down.
Hey, but here's the difference between Cleveland and well, I guess PlayStation's been the same way lately. But we know the Cleveland Browns will let us down. So ultimately, how can we be mad? PlayStation's getting into that same boat. Yeah. And like if I had to rate it, man, what are we gonna do? A 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10?
5.
1 to
Tougher
5.
Scale.
Yeah. So 5 being the best, right?
Yep.
Man, we can't do none of that stupid bullshit negative and 0, right?
No.
Okay, so
you could do 0, I guess.
Well, and then I'm gonna hit it with a 1. 0. I'm literally gonna hit it with a 1.5.
So like 1.5 donuts. Got it.
Yep, 1.5 donuts, man. And that's being generous.
That's on their scale. 1.5 pizzas.
Yeah, 1.5 pizzas, and that's being generous. That is 100% being generous because honestly, I'm not counting the remastered Resident Evil 4. I'm not counting Spider-Man coming to PC. I'm focusing on new content, right? If I'm taking in consideration those additional little things, maybe a 2, right? But everything else, I'm good with a 1.5. I thought it was terrible.
I'll go with my phrase, okay? And simply, it could have been an email. I feel like your work, when you have to go on one of those meetings, you have to listen to the person talk for God knows how long about nothing, when it could have just been an email. I feel like that's what this could have been. You could have just sent us an email and I'd been okay. I could have skimmed through it and went through it and been fine. But I think 1.5 to 2 is fine. And honestly, I'm more willing to give it 1.5 to 2 because Stray is going to be free. I stand by that. That is a free game, so I will put it at the 1.5 to 2 range. But overall, it's disappointing, and I know Xbox is gonna have a bigger event coming, which is terrifying for me for PlayStation to think like, why should I keep caring? Yeah, like that's where I'm getting at, and I know it's a pessimistic way to look at it or anything, but it's true. I mean, it just. You're going to keep getting pummeled by Xbox. You got to put up a bigger fight. I mean, we need teasers for God of War. We need teasers for whatever you have. I guess they try to do that with Horizon, but honestly, I mean, Horizon's not going to beat out what Xbox is going to be throwing out because it's literally a free update that should have been with the game from the start, which was over a year ago.
No.
When Horizon got released?
Horizon came out this year.
Oh, geez. See, it tells you where I'm at in my head. That's it. That's how irrelevant PlayStation has been doing with their releases.
Yeah.
But
remember, I pre-ordered the collector's edition.
Oh yeah,
got it like a week later. So yes.
Yep.
So
good for you. We should all get collector's edition of Stray though. Better come with a cool little statue cat. But I mean, honestly, I'm gonna stick by. Could have been an email. I think you're saying shit and disappointing are fair descriptions. And yet again, take out Final Fantasy 16 from this, and it might be a half a pizza.
And exactly, and that's ultimately what it really is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Stray makes up half a pizza. Final Fantasy 16 makes up half a pizza. You get one and a half pizzas, right? I mean, that's ultimately what it is. And the reason why they get the additional half, so that one and a half, is simply because, you know, we're fat. We want to eat more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Oh man, it's so disappointed. Like I was really, and I know we all were, all the people were hoping for something that was going to be stunning, and we didn't get it. So, but what can you do?
You know, make a podcast on YouTube, have people listen to it if hearing you complain about it, and that's what we did.
Yep.
Nitwits PlayStation State of Play review. 1.5 pizzas. It was dog shit. PlayStation, what the fuck are you doing?
But but already, Nitwits, if you made it this far, subscribe, click like, tell us we're awesome, do all the things that you normally do. Been loving the channel so far. You guys have grown us so much, so thank you again. Shout out to you all. We've been doing almost daily, it feels like, streams, just playing mainly Siege and some Overwatch now.
And
So,
Faz
hey,
as well.
Oh yeah, Faz is kind of our game. Faz is definitely gonna be picking up, so stay tuned with the update coming up. But stay classy, Nitwits.
Peace, love, and chicken grease.